Am I the asshole for being completely honest to my biological parents about how my childhood was really awful? I was given up for adoption right after I was born. Unfortunately, my adoption didn't work out and I grew up in foster care until I turned 18. I'm now 19 and in college. In February, I got a Facebook message from a man claiming to be my father. We messaged back and forth, and while I kept a lot of my childhood details private, we did make plans to meet him and my mother. They weren't married to each other, by the way. When I got to the restaurant, I was very shocked and honestly upset to find my father and mother had brought their spouses, as well as their children, to surprise me. My father's mother, so my grandmother, was also there. I was already feeling very emotional about the whole thing, and seeing everyone there didn't help. So I sat through an hour of listening to them sharing all about their lives while I fake smiled through everything. Honestly, I felt very jealous that they had kids they really loved and how they all had really happy lives after ditching me. Then they started asking about me and my parents, and how my Facebook gave very little away about my life. I basically lost it and started crying like a little bitch, lol, and told them how shitty my adoptive parents were and how shitty foster life was. I was pretty snarky and sarcastic when I said that I'm glad their lives worked out for them because mine sure as hell didn't. I couldn't stop crying and my father had to drop me back home. He was very apologetic. I feel very shitty about it. I made my mother and father cry at the restaurant. They were really nice people. I got a few messages from my mother and father separately where they've been apologizing and if they could make it up to me. My mother in particular seems really upset by everything, and I hate that I may have messed up her happy life. Her last message basically said that she's been unable to sleep and wants to see me again. I've been ignoring their messages and just been focusing on school instead. Am I the asshole? Maybe I should have been more honest before the meetup.
Nah, you have a right to your life. And they have probably spent the last 19 years clinging to the idea that you had a better life than they could give you. Being hit by the reality that their happiness now is built the opportunities they had by condemning you to misery has probably hurt them quite a bit, but that's not your fault.
When I got to the restaurant, I was very shocked and honestly upset to find my father and mother had brought their spouses, as well as their children, to surprise me. My father's mother, so my grandmother, was also there. Not the asshole. Bringing their families with them must have felt like a kick on the teeth because it was a glimpse of something you never had. It was too much too soon. I can completely understand why this was overwhelming.
Hey, I hope you're all right. This sounds massively complex and as if there is a lot of trauma. I don't think this is a case for this sub. Please reach out to a friend. Maybe your uni campus has a psychologist you could speak to? Wishing you all the best, an internet stranger.
Not the asshole. You were completely blindsided, and I don't understand how your birthgivers couldn't foresee that being an overwhelming and totally inappropriate thing to spring on a child they fucking abandoned. Glad they were apologetic about it. Before you reach back out, consider what you want from your relationship with them, and how seeing them makes you feel. It might be best to talk one-on-one only for a while, or maybe to even write to each other. You get to choose how you make your own family and at what pace.
Your birth parents made a mistake by surprising you with their extended families. You were rightfully upset by this. It doesn't sound like they did it maliciously, and they have both apologized for it. Your feelings of resentment and abandonment are absolutely valid. You were right to be honest with them about your childhood and your feelings towards them. There are
Nah. The truth was harsh regardless of how you put it. Plus, it was bound to come up if you tried to continue a conversation with them. They had their reasons for giving you up, and that doesn't make them an nor does it invalidate your feelings.
Not the asshole. It's possible that there are no assholes here, but even very nice people that are so stupidly unaware of how blitzing you with the bio family you never knew might backfire absolutely deserve to be made uncomfortable. If you want to try again under better controlled circumstances, maybe one parent at a time, great. If you don't, great. You are under no obligation to make them feel comfortable with the choices that they've made. I second what others have said here. Please make sure to take care of yourself and find support. No doubt there are too many people who have experienced a difficult upbringing and found their place in the world. Not the asshole. To begin with, they shouldn't have brought their families. Then they went on to say how great their lives were. TBH, just reading it feels like a slap in the face. That's not to say that you should stay away from them though, but that's completely your choice. If they don't like it, all I can say is that it's their fault for overwhelming you at the meetup.
Not the asshole. It's pretty shitty that they set up the first meeting like that. Almost a slap to your face. I don't blame your reaction at all. Meeting the rest of the family should happen WAAAAAAY later. Not the asshole X1000. With something as emotionally raw as a bio-parent meet-up, the ambush family reunion was at best myopic. They had no clue what kind of life you had, and it seems like they consoled themselves with the fact that it was awesome. Now that they've learned otherwise, they're upset. And that's for them to work through. I don't say that nastily, but you can't own their feelings. But the group meet sounded just awful, and I'm sorry you had to endure that.
Not the asshole. You were being honest about a very real and deep topic. Hugs to you.
Nah. Your parents gave you up for whatever reasons and hoped you would be okay. They probably didn't envisage a world where you wouldn't be adopted. You've had a shit time growing up, none of which is your fault. Maybe you shouldn't have yelled at them in a restaurant, but the truth would have some about eventually, and they presented you with a massive family you didn't know about and overwhelmed you. I recommend counseling and lots of it, for all of you if you intend to further your communication with your birth family.
Do you think you want to put all this behind and try to have a good relationship with them? It's okay to back out if you're not comfortable. If you want to try this, I recommend, if they want to make up in any way, to make them pay for a professional help so you can navigate this emotions. You're entitled to your feelings, and I think they didn't do any of this with bad intentions. Nah, for the moment. I hope you can express this feelings in a message to them. That you don't hate them, as you said they're nice person, but you wish to maintain a distance from their families because this brings bad emotions to you, and if they want to have a relationship with you it would be better without them at the beginner.
The real parents probably shouldn't have brought their happy families to a dinner with a child they abandoned. Nah, they really shouldn't have brought everyone to the restaurant like it was going to be a big, happy family reunion before they got to know you first, but I don't feel like it was done with malicious intent. You also couldn't help the way your emotions overwhelmed you. Hell, I'd probably break down crying too. Where you want to go from here will be up to you, but I'd suggest maybe seeing if your school has a mental health service that you could use to talk to a therapist. It could help you be able to sort out your feelings and see if you're ready to have a relationship with these people or not. They don't seem like bad people, but if you're not ready then you're not ready.
Not the asshole. I don't see how anyone could react any differently in this case. I would have likely done the same. Good luck to you. You don't owe them anything, so if seeing or contacting them is too painful, don't do it.
Not the asshole. Since your parents gave you up for adoption right after you were born, they were probably hoping you would be raised in that family as their own and would never have to go through the foster care system. They were probably under the impression that this family was giving you a better life, and to find out they put you through foster care instead was probably very painful for them. They also probably were never informed that the adoption didn't work out as they had to sign away their rights. It sounds like they very much still love you, especially since they contacted you so soon after you turned 18 and were legally allowed to. Maybe invite just them over and try to talk things out. You grew up without a family, but maybe now you have one.
Nah. When your parents put you up for adoption, they were probably told themselves that you would get a better childhood than they could provide. For all they knew, you were adopted immediately after birth and had a happy family life after that. They thought having more biofamily would be a bonus. It isn't, and that doesn't make you the asshole either.
You are absolutely not the asshole for feeling this, and expressing it by tears which you could not control. They should have come by themselves to the meeting. It's too much. Now, this is absolutely not about your bio parents anymore, it's about you making the best possible out of your life. If you have it in you to see them again, discuss a way to set you up for success. Or if you need more time, tell them that. It's not your job to make them feel good.
Not the asshole. I would say NR, but bringing their happy family was a dick move from your biological parents.
By the way, if you're not ready to see them again, or if you never want to see them again, that's your choice. Don't let them guilt you into doing something you don't want to do. They made a choice 19 years ago, and you have the right to make your own choices too. You shouldn't see your mother before you're ready just to make her feel better when you're still hurting.
Not the asshole, but your bio parents are for bringing their spouses and kids. Like, who does that to a child they gave up? Oh yeah, they did. Unamused.
Not the asshole. They should have just met you without everyone else there, or at least they should have told you beforehand that the others would be there. I'm sorry about what you went through. Life isn't easy for a lot of foster kids, and it sounds like you were forced to bottle up your emotions for years, and then it just spilled out. You didn't do anything wrong. I mean, the wrong thing to do would be to lie about your childhood to make them feel better.
Yeah. Adoption isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's entirely possible they didn't have abortion as an option, and this is unfortunately a good example of why adoption isn't necessarily a solution. But you are not the asshole. You don't need to protect their feelings.
Nah, you had a rough life and you can't pretend you didn't. However, that shouldn't be held against them, nor should their good lives be held against them. For whatever reason, when you were born they weren't ready to be parents and they did what they thought would be best for everyone. They had no way of knowing how things were going to turn out for you.
Edit. I originally wrote NAH, but now I'm going to change it to not the asshole because your bio parents were in fact assholes by ambushing you like that. Not the asshole. You're allowed to be emotional and allowed to share how your life went.
Not the asshole. You were in shock. And you just told your truth.
Not the asshole, and feel free to join us over at Adopted if you'd like some support.
Not the asshole. They basically ambushed you. They had no right to spring all those people on you without you knowing.
Not the asshole. They ambushed you with their happy families upon first meeting, which is not cool. Some people are saying they had a fantasy of giving you a better life in adoption, but I only think that's realistic when they know the people who are going to adopt, and since you had such a terrible experience I don't think that was the case.
Fuck dude. Internet hug. You don't owe either them a fucking thing. They bailed, not you. Reach out when and if you're ready. Other than that you have zero obligation to any of them. They waited 19 years? WTF.
Nah, they asked. Adoption, however well intended at the time of birth, doesn't always work out like the movies. That is neither of your faults, and they asked for the truth. Please consider, when you're ready, opening your heart to them. It won't heal the past, but the past shouldn't dictate that your future can't be filled with people that care about you.
I hate that I may have messed up her happy life. Not the asshole. They messed up your chance at a happy life too. You are never wrong to tell the truth, or to share how you feel. There's no way they could have known that they were giving you up to a worse life than they could have provided, and I'm sure they hoped desperately that you were bound for a better life. But, better the devil you know, they would have at least known if they hadn't given you up. It's a difficult situation on all sides. But your feelings are completely valid, and you don't owe them anything. Their guilt is their own and you can't take it for them.
Not the asshole at all. Them doing this goes against everything I've ever seen how to meet a child you've never met before. I'm so sorry this happened to you.
Not the asshole. They should have asked or sought an introduction through a professional before doing a big family gathering. In any case, this wasn't your fault and you haven't messed up anything. Not the asshole. They might have handled this better. Started off with a 2-on-1. Just them and you. Bringing the entire cast of characters out like that was rude. You don't just throw someone in the ocean and say good luck. Start with the kiddie pool and work your way up. I'm sure they were just excited to show you all the new family you'd be getting, but they didn't take into account how daunting that can be for you, the outsider. I think you should open up to them. I don't think you owe them an apology for what you said.
I'm so sorry. When people give their children up for adoption, it's usually because they hope that by doing that they'll be giving them a better life. Unfortunately for you that was not the case, and personally, I think that given the circumstances, them showing up with the entire family without telling you or meeting you solo first, it was completely normal for you to react the way you did. You destroyed what happy little fantasy they had built for themselves, but that's all it was, a fantasy. Nah.
Not the asshole. Your bio parents turned an amazing opportunity to reconnect into an extravaganza. If they considered your feelings for any extent of time, they would have met with you one-on-one.
Not the asshole. You spoiled their Hallmark's movie moment. They should have met with you sans the families, just each other. And I can see why they waited. You needed to be 18.
Not the asshole. Sounds like they had no intention of being hurtful, but that doesn't mean they didn't hurt you. That being said, sounds like they want to make up for it. I would give it another shot when you're ready.
Not the asshole. A lot of society, people, especially adoptive parents and biological parents, idealize adoption to an unhealthy degree. What happens is the most important person, the child, gets lost. It's so important for people to know adoption is messy and confusing. Especially for the child. Even if they were raised in a supportive, loving home. Parents need to remember to not center themselves and their projections of how things should be.
Not the asshole. They should have met you without their families first.
Not the asshole in any capacity. A sad lunch for them when you've been having troubles for years is literally nothing. If anything, they deserve it for being gone deaf.
Not the asshole, it's your truth. You were not wrong to share it. They were the asshole for springing the whole family on you like that, knowing full well this would be a very emotional time.
Not the asshole. They were completely self-absorbed to ambush you with the whole family there instead of just the two of them coming by themselves. You didn't do anything wrong, op.
Not the asshole, since they brought others to the first meeting without asking you first. The first meeting should only have been between you and them. They do seem to be apologetic though, so I would try to talk to them over the phone and see if you can build a relationship with them.
Not the asshole. You're only 19. I can't imagine trying to navigate that at your age. I don't have much to say because most people are echoing my sentiments, but I hope you do well in the future and everything works out well.
NTA, they should have never brought so many people to meet you. It's an awful lot to process. Also, they had no idea how you would react to it, and yes, they didn't know, but they should have made it easy for you. They did it badly, and you reacted badly, but I can understand why. You seem to need someone to talk to about all this. I would suggest taking a step back from them and sorting your own head out. You need time to process and some help dealing with your trauma. I'm so sorry you are going through this. I can't imagine the pain. You didn't deserve this. You did nothing wrong. You deserved better from the adults in your life.
Nah, you have a right to tell the truth. I get that you were snarky, but I think that's understandable given the circumstances. Honestly, they shouldn't have ambushed you like that. I think they had a clear picture in their minds of what happened, because they could sleep easier that way. Because of that, they didn't handle this initial meeting with sufficient tact. Does your college have mental health services for students? Please try to find someone to talk to. None of this is your fault, but you do need to work on it so that you can go on to lead a good life.